Hey guys, I'm Jax, and this is my breakdown, ending explained video for the mid-season finale of the final season of Better Call Saul. So, another amazing episode. After all the table setting and, planning and preparation, we finally get to the end game of bringing down Howard, and the episode was amazing. The film students was great, the board meeting where it all kind of came out, and the switcheroo and all the trickery and stuff, it all came to light. It was an amazing episode, but let's get to that cliffhanger ending. So after weeks of theorizing and speculating, what's the plan? How is Howard going to react to the plan? Will the plan work? Will Howard kind of get will he turn the tables on them? And if he reacts, will he react poorly? Will he kill himself? Will one of them kill him? And of all the crazy things that could have happened, we ended up getting something that I am completely split on. Like, on one side, it's shocking and horrifying, and I really like the kind of bizarre symbolism that I never really saw would happen and how that is for the show and where it's going to go from here. And on the other hand, it's almost too random. It's almost too no one thought of this. No one speculated this would happen, because it just comes out of absolutely nowhere. So, spoilers. You're not watching it if you haven't seen it, but Lalo kills Howard. He just shoots him in the head out of nowhere for essentially no reason, completely out of the blue at the end of the episode, and it's shocking, it's horrifying, it's terrifying. There's such an incredible use of seeing the candle, and it shimmers and almost goes out with the cold wind that comes in when the door opens. First with Howard, and then the tension builds up, is Howard gonna do something? Is Howard gonna fall off the balcony? Is Howard gonna try and attack one of them? What's gonna happen? And then the second time, when Lalo enters, and it's so tense. It's nothing about this scene isn't perfectly well executed and well made on a filming standard, on an acting standard. Everything is perfection. But yeah, so I'm of two minds, and let me go mind one where it works, and then mind two where it doesn't work. So part of my brain loves this. It is so completely insane and horrible. Slip and Jimmy and Slip and Kimmy have been falling more into the crime side of things, and Howard has been completely separate of that for the entire series. The actors even said in interviews, I love doing my scenes because we're just doing a lawyer show, and then I watch the show, and there's this whole crime angle that he's just not a part of whatsoever, and he's never been a part of it, not for a single second. And this season, while bringing, down Howard and destroying his career through this elaborate scheme that's taken the whole season, they are slowly kind of drawing him into their kind of crime part of their lawyer show that they're both a part of. Jimmy's on one side and the other, and he's slowly kind of drawing Howard into that crime world. And at the end, when Howard comes drunk and he's still in his lawyer show, he's like, how dare you do this to me, Jimmy? How dare you ruin it? What did I do? What did I do to deserve this? And then the crime aspect of Jimmy's life walks in the door, looks at him and goes, who's this random? Bang! You don't fit into this world, Howard. And Jimmy is going to turn into Saul Goodman, and he'll never be part of that just a lawyer world anymore. So how does Howard deal with coming to this world? He gets shot immediately. Cold blood, brutal, for no reason, because sometimes the crime world is horrific and brutal like that. And so this side of it, I love it. It's not what I expected at all, but it totally fits the theme of the show. Crime show, lawyer show, and it's going to end up being a crime lawyer show. It's a lawyer in a crime show. That's what he is in Breaking Bad. And so Howard doesn't fit. Howard's never fit. When I watched the first season when it first aired, I was like, this is almost too different. And for so long, the show has essentially been Mike and Gus and, Nacho and all that doing their story and Saul doing his story. And season 5 started bringing them together with Lalo as Saul's lawyer. And now to have this kind of happen, it's not in a big elaborate scheme. Howard didn't try and ruin Kim's life, then Kim has to go to prison, then Saul kills Howard, or something brutal like that, something meticulously schemed. Howard doesn't kill himself to kind of horribly mirror Chuck killing himself. All these things that I felt fit thematically into the show, and with all these kind of characters and where that all kind of end up. But to have Howard die like this is so kind of tragic in a way where even the part of me that's it feels unearned and just random and cruel. That's almost another side of why it does kind of work, because it's so horribly cruel and just random, and just Lalo doesn't even know who Howard is. Howard has no idea who that is. He just suddenly, even in his drunken state, goes oh boy, I'm in the middle of something. And yeah, you're in the middle of something, and you wouldn't have been if they hadn't tried to screw your life over. So it is Saul and Kim's fault for trying to ruin your life and dragging you into it. But then there's this just bizarre sense of it isn't building and building and building. He's just there drunkenly yelling and being why'd you do this to me? Which totally they shouldn't have done. So I felt so bad for Howard this episode. And then he just is in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's just, Okay, I don't know. The more I'm talking about it, maybe it does work. I just found it so shockingly random and horribly brutal. After so many theories and speculation getting kind of caught up in it all, no one suggested this, at least no one that I read. Or if I did, I didn't even kind of take it seriously. Like, oh, how would that even happen? But from Lalo's perspective, it's great to see him just kind of come back into Jimmy's life in that same house, in the same kind of creepy walking through the doorway. And he's just like, I need to speak with my lawyers. Oh, who's this? How? I don't know what's been going on with him. I don't know how important he is to their lives. Bang! Just, I need to talk to my lawyers. So guys, let's talk. From his perspective, he hasn't done the thing that we've all seen him do, which is kind of crazy to think. Like, he isn't aware that Howard has all this relationship with Jimmy, Jimmy's brother, Kim, all these, like 6 seasons of story arc he has no idea about. He essentially doesn't know that Jimmy's got this whole lawyer TV show. He hasn't seen those 6 seasons. And he just walks in and sees another man who he doesn't want to, like, that man can't know that he's there. So he has to die. Like, it just doesn't matter who it was. It was the pizza guy dies. If it's Howard, the main character of the show that's, like, part of the lawyer side of it, like, he's gonna die. And yeah, I don't know. I guess the more I'm talking about it, the more horrifically tragic and brutal and just wrong place, wrong time. He took one step into the crime TV show and he got punished by death for it, because that show is so much more brutal than the show he's been living in. It's just, oh boy, it's crazy stuff, man. Part 2 can't come soon enough. But having said all of that, part of me does feel a bit kind of like, not disappointed, but just kind of like, maybe it's just the shock of it happening and I'm coming off this so quickly. Part of me is like, is it maybe just like a little bit too random? Even though the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, oh no, it kind of makes sense. It's that kind of converging of worlds, the colliding of the two worlds that this show has been about for the whole series. But I'm also just like, Howard has nothing to do with this. Like, I don't know. I really just saw him either killing himself or Saul having to do with his demise, because Saul really doesn't feel like he's the Saul Goodman that we know that's always like, Belize. Let's send someone to Belize. So I always imagine the idea of him assassinating Howard, Howard turning on them and doing something horrible in the next few episodes. That would be his first, let's send someone to Belize. And that all kind of fit and made sense. But now the idea that Howard's been tragically murdered by the cartel, by Lalo, it's just crazy to think that in a couple of years, Saul's going to be like, Belize, let's just send everyone to Belize. Maybe this moment doesn't kind of shock him in the way of making him go like less corrupt and less criminal. Maybe he just doubles down and he realizes, I'm in a brutal world, everything's destroyed and dead and horrible. I've just got to accept this is who I am now. So I guess there's that kind of angle he's going to take from this death. But yeah, it's a big moment. I'd love to know what people think. Just big yays for shock and horror. Are you kind of disappointed it didn't play out a different way? Did you think it would play out this way? I'd be super curious how everyone's reacting to this incredibly huge moment. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I would love to know what everyone thought of the mid-season finale of the final season of Better Call Saul.